morning. I apologize.
Okay, no worries. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today on the LinkedIn Live event of Startup Game Changer, Startup Steroid, and Startup Pulse. We are going to talk today about tips for women founders, and I have a celebrated guest with me, Brenda McAvey. She's a good friend. She is from Spain and Italy, and she has been living here in Los Angeles for the last, 5, 6 years now, Brenda?
Oh, no, going on 10. So.
Going on 10. Okay. She is a big proponent of investing in women-led startups and guiding women founders how to scale their company. She's an advisor. She is representing a lot of company on their board. So welcome to the show, Brenda. Go ahead and introduce yourself. She is a big proponent of investing in women-led startups.
I am absolutely delighted to be.
Maybe you'll have to cut the speaker down, Brenda, on the other thing where it is playing the live. So welcome to the show, Brenda. Go ahead and introduce yourself. She is a big proponent of investing in women-led startups.
What's going on with absolutely?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Oh, you have muted yourself. So, I think it is running somewhere on your computer, the LinkedIn Live. So you will have to. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Close all the other windows, Brenda. Yourself. So, I think.
How about this?
Yes. Now it is good.
You know what? I had another LinkedIn instance open. So
okay, no worries.
Technical difficulties. Anshuman, I am absolutely delighted to join this LinkedIn live LinkedIn, and I'm very passionate about women founders, and I found my passion actually accidentally with my collaboration with the TIE, that is TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs SoCal chapter, of which I'm a member since 2018. I started as an associate member. I had on the side, I had some clients, not necessarily female, but male, in the tech space, enterprise SaaS, and I was an angel investor in some women-led companies, but adjacent to TIE. To make a long story short, I was able to, through TIE SoCal, invest as an angel investor in funds where I could actually show up, write checks in clean tech founders, enterprise SaaS, and digital health or biotech. And it was after investing in the funds and doing due diligence that I became more and more, involved with the community. And there is a power to writing checks to not only for male founders, but women founders. And eventually in 2022, we constituted, we being TIE, a Women Entrepreneurs SoCal Angel Fund 1. So we have a fund that is solely dedicated to women-owned businesses. And so again, my passion found me, and it was by hanging around like-minded people. We're passionate about supporting entrepreneurs. It's about trust. And it's oftentimes about writing that first check in. And time and time again, I have seen that by being that sole woman, maybe on that virtual screen, you get more women to write checks, right? Because I often get calls afterwards or during, and I'm an investor in another two funds, is how did you get into angel investing? Mm-hmm. And more women are getting, sitting on the other side of the screen, right? So that's kind of my origin story of how women-owned companies have followed me, and I am delighted to talk about those, tips for sure. Did you have a specific question, Shuman, that you'd like me to share? or answer?
Yes, yes, Brenda. So you have a wealth of experience in meeting and guiding and mentoring women founders. Historically, what you have seen in life, what unique challenges do women face in entrepreneurship, and particularly in raising capital and mentorship and networking? Why there is a difference between a male founder and a female founder?
Yeah, and I would sum it up with probably three, and I hate to make distinctions, all right? But now that you've asked me, and it's a common question, I think there's three differences that I have observed, and actually as myself as a woman in my corporate life, I was often the sole woman in the room, and didn't have, first of all, a large network. Women traditionally do not have established networks, be they professional, be they personal, like male founders, or even male, CEOs or C-suite members. And that is the proverbial, learn to play golf, learn to play poker, or set up your own network. And so my tips for founders, women founders, is recognize that you don't have a large network, build it. And you would be surprised. Think about going back to who knows you from undergrad, maybe even high school, graduate school, or whatever professional experience you've had. Become part of an association that is associated with the industry vertical of your startup. Start to look for leadership and speaking positions. Give back, and that's how you would start to create this, I guess, snowball effect of creating your own network. That's the first thing. The second observation of women founders is, again, traditionally we're the minority in a room, right? Be it a fund, be it in corporate America or whatever. Learn to write down before you go into those meetings everything that can go right, rather
Okay.
than have the imposter syndrome. Right? And you can't fight that, but you can try. And one of my tips is, before going into that pitch session or before going into that new client, write down on a piece of paper what can possibly go right. And that is a tactic to go against the imposter syndrome that many of us have, we suffer from for many years, and it's hard to get rid of. So setting up that habit is one of my pieces of advice. And I think also women, we are very multifaceted. We play many roles in life, not only founder of a company, CEO, maybe COO. Um, we also maybe are carrying on, we're a parent. We may also be a caregiver to our parents themselves. My point here is, know how to show up, know who your audience is. And that means you're in front of people that write checks as a founder. Be your, for lack of another word, executive self. You do need to allow time and a lot of time for you to really show up as that executive that is going to make that check last a long time, right? Until you hit a milestone. So those are kind of the three observations. Again, I'm very reluctant to make distinctions between male and female founders, but the fact of the matter is, women-owned companies only get 2% of VC money. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The data is that, women founders only get 2% of the VC money,
yeah.
and we are going to mitigate that, how those ratios could be changed. Uh, how can women overcome the gender biases in the investment landscape, Brenda? What should they focus on when they are pitching to investors? Because, when a women founder walks into a pitching session, be it on Zoom or be it on a physical event, there is always that, okay, there is some kind of an inbuilt bias between the investors. So, how a women founder can overcome that, and what she should be focusing while pitching to investors.
Yes, that's a great question. And everyone has a personal style of pitching, independent of knowing that you're up against the gender bias. Again, I would pick and choose before you even go into those rooms who you're pitching to, right? Oftentimes you don't have a choice, but if you can choose, you do want to be able to improve your outcomes, right? By choosing the right investor groups that you actually are pitching to. I think the other thing is, without becoming male or aggressive in your delivery of your pitch, it's talk about the business basics. It goes down to, why does this business exist? Maybe tell your origin story, why, and I love this around women. Women businesses are typically associated, and I think this is the gender bias too, with consumer packaged goods, with beauty, with retail, with
Yeah,
apparel, and it's not the case. The number of women that are founding companies in the STEM space, in biosciences, is predominantly dominated by women, by the way. But anyway, the fact that women do solve worldwide problems, climate change, or the AI. The COO of OpenAI is a woman, right? She's in the
yeah,
back. Women oftentimes we're comfortable playing that background role, right? So I would say stand up, right? Without becoming belligerent, but go and talk about the problem, the origin story, who your team is. I think that might be a good aspect to reduce any gender bias in the room, is that I don't have any gender bias, right, as a founder. Matter of fact, my team, right, has people of diverse, maybe ethnic background or color or gender themselves. So team, what is your ask, and actually how you're going to spend the people that are writing in the check. So be very personal, be in their faces, right? On how I'm going to spend your money on making you a great multiple return. Hmm?
okay, okay, great. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about the much talked topic of work-life balance. Entrepreneurship, as you know, Brenda, is demanding, and for many women, balancing the personal and the professional life is an additional challenge. Women are the ones who can become a mother, right? So, how can they manage both without sacrificing their business growth and personal well being?
Right. Great question. And I I often get asked this question, and what I've done, I think there's no one way to do it, but I'll share my, because I do consider that I have consistently had a pretty decent work-life balance. And that was, and I was influenced by Ken Omai many years ago, from McKinsey. He wrote a book on strategy, and I was a young 23-year-old. And the only thing, or one of the things that I really learned from him, was he planned his year ahead, and he always planned around the family. Now he is a
Mhm.
he, right? Ken is a he. But it stuck in my mind. At that time, I had two young children. I was a McKinsey associate at McKinsey and Company. So I wasn't a founder, but McKinsey, you work long hours, you work. And
Yeah,
I just remember that I started, and I was probably, it's 20, 25 years ago. I started really sitting down over the holidays in December, so, and planning largely the family vacations, and time out to achieve that work-life balance, right? Maybe it's not the quantity, it's the quality. I think for women too, I always had helpers. You can't be superwoman. I did have domestic help that not only helped with my children, but I also I taught them how to cook, right? So you can't be there 24/7 because you're going to be in the offices, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be investors. So I think that women, the sooner that you do realize that there is no shame in not being a superwoman. So get help. And the other thing with work-life balance, and again, because we oftentimes are the minority in the room, speak up for yourself. You don't have to, right? If a man were to say, "Hey, I got to leave early for a softball game of my son," well, I've got to leave early because my daughter has a dance lesson. If we're going to gender, make this very gender specific, or your son might be going to softball. So
Yeah,
don't feel shame in speaking up for those outcomes that you desire to have in your work-life balance, right? No shame.
sure, sure. Leadership and confidence for women entrepreneurs. What are some key leadership qualities that women founders should focus on developing?
Um,
Key leadership qualities that
leadership,
women founders
leadership
should develop.
qualities. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, there's this old days, right? That leaders are, and I believe this, leaders are not born, leaders are made.
Mhm.
I think leadership qualities, again, there's different leadership styles. Um, mm, for women, and I get it. So my own leadership style is one of servant leadership, which is to really empower and enable those who work with you to you serve them, right, from your experiences. And I think that leadership style, that of servant leadership, it's not gender specific. It is one that is very non-hierarchical, open door policy. You listen very actively. You're a lifelong learner. You're going to learn from your teams as well as they're learning from you. And
Right.
I think that the allowing for failure, right, without dire consequences. I think the ability to be that open-minded um, uh, development leader is particularly suitable for early stage companies.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to take some questions from the audience. There is Savi Mangotra. She is asking, what marketing strategies do you suggest for women founders with limited resources but ambitious goals? What
Uh,
marketing strategies do you suggest for women founders with limited resources but ambitious goals?
I think that marketing resources that are there are. I don't know where you're located in the world. So the HubSpot has a free um, basic package. So that's HubSpot, HUBSBOT, that does have a lot of bells and whistles. It largely is a customer relationship management, a CRM.
Right.
It has additional marketing modules. The another idea is I use HubSpot for startups myself. I'm actually Next Act Advisors. My consulting firm is a HubSpot startup partner. So if you use the name of Next Act Advisors, you get even more discount. Once you go from a basic, right, free license to, which I think allows you up to 1,000 email addresses. The second thing I would recommend is use the Upwork or Fiverr, Fiverr, no, yeah, Fiverr. Fiverr has amazing outsourced artists, marketing folks that once you send them a one pager on the campaign or campaigns that you want to do, for like less than $500, you can get some amazing marketing materials that then you can put on your website, right? And absolutely, the minimum thing you have to have for marketing is your own website, and that
Mhm.
is pretty reasonably priced today.
Right, right. And I would like to recommend two other things. One is LinkedIn is a great marketing resource. Even if
Absolutely.
you take a LinkedIn Sales Navigator or any of the premium account, and start reaching out to the real folks, be it investors, advisors, mentors, guide, co-workers, it will start amplifying. LinkedIn Live is another good way to create a persona for yourself and for your company, depending upon what you're trying to build, and then create a community around it. Personal website, as Brenda said, is very, very important. And I would like to plug in with all transparency. There is a company that I own, which is called Startup Digital, and the website is the startupdigital.pro. And we have a mandate to help women founders in creating their personal brand. And reach out to us, startupdigital.pro, and we will help you in creating your website, in creating
Mhm.
your social media profiles, and keep posting and engaging the audience. So those are important things over there. So now I'll move
Absolutely.
on to another question. How did you know when it was the right time to scale your business, and what challenges did you face during that phase? Try to answer that, Brenda, in the context of the women founder.
Yes.
How do you know when it is time to scale your business, and what are the challenges that a women founder will face in scaling the business? And let's take an example of a technology startup.
Yeah, so again, I work with women and men, and I think these scaling issues are similar, with one exception. I happen to work with a lot of biosciences, biotech, so scientific founders, and women biotech founders typically wait till it is too late because they have received non-dilutive funding, grant funding, and they wait too late until to get VC or even angel money, and their valuation's too high. So my tips for women in the STEM spaces is don't think you know everything. A lot of times you're a scientific or technical founder. Go out sooner, right? The challenges in scaling, or when do you need to scale, is when you do have product market fit and you have a one or two or three, depending on if you're a B2B or a B2C. Again, my domain is largely in B2B, selling into large corporates. Once you have paying customers, I would say 1 to 3, year contracts, right? Or an MRR of a certain level. That's when you need to think about scaling, because that is now apparently a repeatable business that would be attractive for those investors to help you scale, right? So it's repeatable, right? Cookie cutter, and with a time horizon in place, be it 3 to 5 years, where you would have some type of meaningful exit, which might be a Series B or a sale to another strategic, or eventually an IPO. But that time frame when you're in the early stage and when you're starting to scale is know that there's a horizon, mentally, time horizon, and monetary wise, 5 to 7 years, right? So
Right.
those are the challenges I think in scaling that I observed are pretty common, independent of the vertical.
Okay. There's a question from Irsita Roy. Thanks for all that you are sharing today. How do you handle difficult conversations or decisions with employees as a female leader? How do you handle difficult conversations or decisions with employees as a female leader? Is the question, Brenda.
Again, I don't make it gender specific, and this is probably my many years of experience. The best way to give feedback is one on one, in the moment. I have and in private, right? Um, and if it can't be in the moment, so when you've observed that there's right a certain unexpected outcome within tell them, I have observed the following. Did you know that the consequence of that decision on me or on the company is X. Wait for silence. Because oftentimes the person that has created that issue is not cognizant that they did that, or their team did that, right? So you're probably talking to
Right.
the department. So it's in the moment, in private, make it about you or the company, because you are CEO. Okay. Hey, Sarah, you know that campaign that started last week? Well, this is what I'm hearing in the grapevine. The effect on the company, I think, is blah, blah, blah. Silence. Did you know that this is a thing, right? That
Right.
silence creates it's very uncomfortable for the person that's being spoken to. It's very strategic.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I remember another resource, be it marketing or for anything for women founders, is SBDC. If you are a founder based here in the US, then the government organization called SBDC, Small Business Development Council, they provide a ton of free resources. They can help you in putting together your pitch deck. They can help you in your marketing collateral, and everything is absolutely free. The in each state, SBDC has its main office, and then each county you have a sub office, and you can search it out, sbdc.gov, and look for mentorship help, guidance, marketing help, and they will be more than happy to help you out absolutely free. It is a government funded program for founders. It is available to male founders as well as female founders, entrepreneurs in general. But you can certainly reach out to them and get those help. So let's go back, Brenda, to uh, pitching, and when you're trying to raise capital. Give us one or two, maybe three key points that a women founder must keep while she is presenting to investors. That be it a pitch deck slide, be it how with the voice modulation, what they should do to be compared as a in parallel to a male founder who is pitching to the same investor or investor group.
Again, I think a male or a female founder are on level playing field, because I don't believe that it's because women deliver pitches different that they get less funding. It is a consequence of um, the 98% of VC funding is going to you look like them, right? People invest in people that look like, right? And are hang out in the same country clubs or right? Or you've been as a second time founder. So again, it is a male dominated business. So if you could choose who you pitch to, there are more and more women dedicated angel and VC funds. But what I would, because Anshuman's asking me for some tips for women. Again, that exercise of writing down on a paper or visualizing, what can go right rather than what can go wrong. So fighting that
Right.
imposter syndrome is very important. I think when you go out to pitch, you have 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes to pitch. So know your audience. So try to get an access to the list of who's in the room. Make eye contact, even use their names, right? I know that XYZ VC's in the room. I was really excited to know that you're coming, and I'm here to get you more excited. So make it as personal as you can. And I would say the last successful thing is leave always your name, your email, your telephone number. If you ever get a no, or when you get that no, right? Maybe you have a meeting after the pitching session. And I've seen this work here in the US. If they say no, say, okay, we'll take a no from you, but can you give me access to 3 additional funds that you can make an introduction to.
Right.
It disarms the VC, the angel investor. They're not expecting, but it is a very valid request to ask. Don't forget to do that. So I'll take a note from you, but can you open up your Rolodex and give me 3 contacts? I will follow
Sure.
up.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for giving me your precious time for the LinkedIn Live event today. As you know, this is a live event, but obviously it will be recorded and we will be repurposing the content by cutting into small shots. You have touched upon multiple good points that women founders and entrepreneurs in general should listen to. So we'll be taking the time to do that processing. But thank you so very much for coming today, plugging in Thai. And another great resource for women founders and entrepreneurs in general is to become an associate member of Thai and start from there. It is thaisocal.org. You can go to the website. And on October 25th, we are going to have our largest ThaiCon West 2024 here in Orange County, California. So if you are interested, go to ThaiCon West 2024.com, I believe is the website, and check it out. Buy your tickets, come meet with investors, founders, and great entrepreneurs. And if you want to take a booth there, or put your display table, all those tickets are listed on the website. So I would certainly ask you to go and check it out. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you. And I'll be there on the 25th.
Yeah. Take care.
Have
Bye
a good
bye.
day. Thank you.